In 1947, a computer stopped working for a very unusual reason. Not because of a programming error. Not because of a hardware failure, but because of a moth. Yes, an actual insect. And that tiny creature would accidentally give the world one of the most famous words in technology, the computer bug. But the story behind it is even more fascinating than the name. It begins with one of the pioneers of modern computing, Grace Hopper. At the time, computers were not the sleek machines we carry in our pockets today. They were enormous mechanical systems filling entire rooms. One of these machines was the Harvard Mark II, an electromechanical computer used by the US Navy. It was built using thousands of relays, tiny switches that clicked on and off as the machine performed calculations. The machine worked by physically switching electrical circuits, relay by relay, thousands of times per second. Which meant one small problem could bring the entire system to a halt. On September 9, 1947, something strange happened. The Mark II suddenly stopped working. The engineers began searching through the machine, relay by relay, trying to find the problem. Eventually, they opened one of the relay panels, and there it was. A moth had flown inside the computer and become trapped between two electrical contacts. The insect was literally blocking the circuit. The team carefully removed it and taped it into their engineering logbook. Next to it, they wrote the now famous note. First actual case of bug being found. The moth is still preserved in that logbook today. But here's the surprising twist. The word bug didn't actually start that day. Engineers had been using the word bug to describe mechanical problems for decades. Even the inventor Thomas Edison used the word in the 1800s when describing technical glitches in his machines. But the Mark II incident made the term legendary. Because for the first time, engineers could point to a real bug and say, that's the problem. From that moment on, the language stuck. Today, every software developer knows the word. A bug is a flaw in code that causes a program to behave incorrectly. And debugging is the process of finding and fixing those problems. Modern computers no longer use mechanical relays like the Mark II. They use billions of microscopic transistors etched into silicon chips. But despite all that technological progress, bugs still exist everywhere. Software bugs have caused spacecraft failures, stock market crashes, game glitches, security breaches, even rocket explosions. And every time programmers search through thousands of lines of code trying to fix a mysterious problem, they're essentially doing the same thing those engineers did in 1947, looking for the bug. Of course, today, the bug is rarely an insect. It's usually a misplaced line of code, a logical error, or an unexpected interaction between systems. But the idea remains exactly the same. Find the problem, remove it, make the machine work again. And it all traces back to that strange moment in a laboratory in 1947, a giant computer, a mysterious malfunction, and a small moth trapped inside a relay. Sometimes the biggest ideas in technology come from the smallest accidents. And in this case, one tiny insect ended up shaping the language of computing forever. If you enjoy stories about the strange and fascinating history of technology, make sure to subscribe to Talking Tech for more deep dives into the inventions and moments that shaped the modern world. Because sometimes the smallest bugs leave the biggest mark on history.